So June was a relatively quiet month for me financially, but every month we inch slightly closer, hopefully, to financial independence. So I'm going to show y'all what my budget looked like for the month of June, what I'm looking forward to in July, as well as my net worth starting at the beginning of July. If you're new here, I'm Raymond. I'm a software engineer at Meta, and I'm currently trying to save up towards financial independence and retiring early, hopefully sometime in my 30s. If you'd like to follow me on my journey, feel free to hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the channel, so thank you so much in advance. So starting off with my June budget, this is what my expected numbers looked like, and this is what it actually came out to. In terms of income, everything was pretty much right on the line. I did receive a little bit more money than I expected due to a tax refund from some of the selling and withholding of shares in the previous month, though everything else was pretty much right in line. In terms of expenses, this is where things got a little bit wonky. I spent quite a bit less on groceries. I think this was probably because of the fact that I was out traveling for basically 2 weeks in June, but this was offset by some extra spending on fun money and eating out and that sort of stuff. A guy's gotta have a little bit of fun, right? All in all though, between my income, expenses, and saving for the future, I managed to save and invest $6,887.34, which was largely made up by my 401k and HSA contributions. In terms of net worth then, at the beginning of July, starting off with my Roth IRA, I had about $62,000 in my Roth IRA, about $130,000 in my new 401k at Meta, as well as $107,000 at my old 401k, of which only about $90,000 or $88,965.04 is actually vested. The 401k match at my old employer was not immediately vested, and so that portion I don't expect I will return and make whole on that amount. In terms of my core account, which is sort of my combined checking, savings, and investment brokerage account, I have a little over $130,000 in there, some of which is cash in terms of medium and long-term savings, as well as my emergency fund, and a portion of that is invested. Then for my smallest Fidelity account, I have my health savings account, which is sitting at $20,234.85. I also have now a pretty sizable account at Schwab, sitting at $34,737.22, which is really just the money that I get from my RSU or my stock vesting. All in all then, my total in terms of overall net worth for the beginning of July was sitting at $466,553.17, which is up $4,570.41 from the previous month. This did mean that I actually did lose a bit of money in terms of my savings. If you recall, my savings was actually around $7,000, but that's just the way that the market operates. It is interesting though to see some of these fluctuations really driven by market conditions now that my portfolio is this big instead of my contributions. And though sometimes I do have these pretty large like stock vesting events or bonuses, which will come up shortly, that do actually move the needle in terms of my portfolio. In terms of things that I'm excited for and or dreading in July, we have the start of my performance season in terms of performance evaluations at Meta. This is generally a pretty stressful time and I am pretty stressed out, but I'm hoping for the best and we'll see where we go from here. Hopefully I don't get laid off a little after my first year at Meta, but we'll see what happens. Speaking of RSU vests and bonuses, we also have the big earnings season of all these big companies, big banks and chip makers and everything else reporting earnings in July. And that's definitely going to move the market a decent amount. So I'm excited to see what comes up, especially in terms of earnings for Meta. I'm also getting into a new hobby this month in terms of poi spinning. This was something that one of my friends convinced me to start picking up. And especially since I'm already, I would say, all right at shuffling, at least at the point where I'm not embarrassing myself as much at conventions, I decided to pick up on something else that's also tied to music. Finally, speaking of conventions, we have Anthrocon, which I guess at the time of recording already happened, but it is the sort of largest furry convention that happens in Pittsburgh every single year. This year, unfortunately, it was really damn hot, so really not the best conditions to have a furry convention there, but still a really fun time, still a great time to meet friends that I usually just speak with on the internet or in VR. And I mean, everyone just generally has a fun time there, even if it is blisteringly hot and humid outside. It's also where I got this shirt, so now you know the origin of this t-shirt. In any case, that's what my June looked like and what I'm looking forward to or dreading in July. And I'm hoping that things end up a little bit better in terms of market performance, but we'll see where we go from there. In any case, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.